If you're planning to travel to the US, Canada, or Europe in 2025, there are some major rule updates that you need to be aware of, because knowing these changes isn't just about following the rules. It's about saving yourself time, money, and a whole lot of stress. In this video, I am simplifying the most important travel changes coming in 2025, giving you the essential information for even the most casual traveler. Let's kick things off with something every traveler can relate to: flight delays and cancellations. When I first started traveling, it was a bit of a Wild West situation. Each airline had its own rules, its own definition of significant delays, and its own idea of what you deserve for compensation. Very confusing, very frustrating. But now things are changing. In the US, the Department of Transportation is bringing in new regulations for 2025 that mandate prompt automatic refunds for significant flight changes or cancellations, no matter the reason. Yup, even bad weather. This includes cabin downgrades and situations where your flight is rerouted to a different airport, and even applies to non-refundable tickets. So if you choose not to accept the alternative being offered by the airline, such as rebooking on another flight, you will receive a full refund back to your original payment method. And this refund includes any baggage fees or additional services such as Wi-Fi that you paid for but couldn't use. So what does significant mean? Well, a delay of 3 or more hours for domestic flights and 6 or more for international flights. So to recap, in the US, that means you'll either get an easy, full refund or a new flight. You don't get both, and you don't get compensated for the hassle yet. But that is still a huge step forward. Now to review a few more rules, and although these are not new for 2025, they're still good to know. If you are flying in Canada, the rules are a little different and better, where you do get compensated depending on whether the delay was within the airline's control. So if you arrive at your destination 3 hours or later, or for rebookings, you could get anywhere from $400 to $1,000 Canadian if traveling on a big airline, or $125 to $500 Canadian for smaller ones. And if you choose to be refunded instead of rebooked, larger airlines must still pay you $400 and smaller airlines $125. And it's even better if you're flying in the EU. If your flight is canceled, you have the right to choose between reimbursement, rerouting, or a return. And in addition, if you were informed of the cancellation less than 14 days prior to the scheduled departure date, you have the right to compensation. So you could get between 250 to 600 euros in compensation if your flight is canceled or significantly delayed 3 or more hours, unless it's due to extraordinary circumstances. These could include air traffic management decisions, political instability, adverse weather conditions, or security risks. As a frequent traveler, I love seeing these changes, especially since airline tickets are such a big investment, and having more financial reassurances on those purchases is definitely a win. Speaking of Europe, if you are traveling there this year, there are 2 big changes that you're going to need to be aware of, or else you could be denied at the border or even before you board the plane. The European Union is preparing for the launch of 2 new border management initiatives: the European Travel Information and Authorization System, or ETIAS, and the Entry-Exit System, EES. Why are they doing this? Better security and cracking down on overstays are the main goals. So it'll be easier for Europe to track who's coming and going, and making sure that people aren't staying longer than they're allowed. First up, EES, the Entry-Exit System. When you are entering or leaving the Schengen zone in Europe, so that's most EU countries plus some others, the system will record your entry and exit electronically. How does it work? Well, for non-EU travelers, EES will collect an image of your face and fingerprints the first time you enter the Schengen zone. They'll also grab your passport information. So after that first time, subsequent border crossings should be faster because, well, they'll have your information on file. No more passport stamps for non-EU folks. I mean, it's kind of sad in a way, but also was really annoying when, they'd stamp the middle of your page or in the wrong page. Now let's talk ETIAS, the European Travel Information and Authorization System. Now this one is super important if you're from a country that doesn't need a visa for short trips to Europe, places like the USA, Canada, Australia, and many others. ETIAS is not a visa, it's a travel authorization. What's the difference, you might ask? A travel visa is an official document that allows you to enter, stay in, or leave a country for longer periods of time or specific activities like work or study. It usually requires a detailed application and it is stamped in your passport. A travel authorization, on the other hand, is a simpler electronic permission for shorter visits, mainly for tourists or business travelers from visa-exempt countries. This process is quicker and it's done online. It's like getting a quick online permission slip before you travel, and it's similar to systems that the USA, Canada, and Australia already use. So who will be affected by ETIAS? Well, about 1.4 billion people from around 60 countries who currently enjoy visa-free travel to Europe. So how do you apply for an ETIAS travel authorization? Well, it's just an online application, and most applications will be processed within minutes, though they do recommend applying well in advance, just in case. There is a small fee, €7, but it's valid for 3 years, or until your passport expires, whichever comes first. And with ETIAS, you can enter those European countries multiple times for short trips, so up to 90 days in any 180-day period. EES is expected to launch later in 2025 and ETIAS shortly after that. So depending on when your trip is, you might not even have to worry about it yet. There are links down in the video description that will take you to the official websites for these programs. If you're finding this advice helpful and you don't want to miss out on any other future videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button right there. And check out my How to Travel ebook. It's over 250 pages of tips and travel hacks just like this video. It covers everything you need to know for planning, booking, and packing, as well as advice for when you're actually on your trip. So check it out in the link in the description. Now, across the English Channel, the United Kingdom is also jumping on the digital travel authorization train with its electronic travel authorization, or UK ETA. Now, if that sounds pretty familiar, it's because it's similar to ETIAS, but it's for the UK. If you're from a visa-exempt country like the USA, Canada, or the EU, and you're planning a trip to the UK, you'll likely need a UK ETA. So who needs it right now? If you are watching this video after April 2nd, 2025, and you can typically travel visa-free to the UK, then you're probably going to need to apply for one. Again, links will be in the description to the official websites where you can get all the up-to-date information. How do you get a UK ETA? It's also done through an online application, just like ETIAS. The fee is £10 and they say it takes around 3 working days to process. So just factor that into your UK trip planning. Switching gears back to the USA, starting May 7th, 2025, to fly domestically within the US, you'll need a Real ID compliant driver's license or another acceptable federal ID, like, a passport. No more just flashing around your old regular driver's license. It won't be accepted for domestic flights starting May 7th. So quick check. Look at your driver's license right now. Do you see a star in the upper corner? If yes, then you're good to go. You're already Real ID compliant. No star? All right, that's fine. Don't panic. You'll just need to visit your state's DMV or Department of Motor Vehicles to get a Real ID. Or, and hear me out, you just get a passport because, you'll need it anyway for any other travels that you wish to do outside of the US. And since September 2024, it's actually been possible for US citizens to renew their passports online rather than in person. So it makes it super easy. Next, if you're looking to level up your packing game in 2025 and you wish to learn how to select the perfect luggage for yourself, well, I break it all down in this video right here.